Okay, I'm Richard Harris. I was born in Baltimore, Maryland. I was raised in California with a mother who, it was a broken home. So my mother kind of jumped from different men. I had probably 3 or 4 stepfathers growing up. I joined the Marine Corps when I was about 17. I moved back to California and just moved around everywhere and just it started my little running away from problems thing right there. When I was in the Marines, I really started drinking heavily. Went from one unhealthy relationship to another. I never wanted to be alone, so I didn't really care too much about qualities women had. It was just what they could do for me, And why I chose the Tacoma Rescue Mission, it wasn't really me choosing it. It was God. I think it was God placing me here. I didn't know that at the time. I moved back to Washington again, and I couldn't live with my ex still doing the drugs, and well, I was still doing it, but I wanted a way out. And I was homeless and living on the streets, and somebody told me about there was a rescue mission on South Tacoma Way, and so I walked down, and the first thing I seen was that statue, and I sat there in awe and just looked at the statue for a while and read how God had pulled us up out of the miry clay, and I went in, signed up for a bed. I didn't really know much about the program upstairs at all, so I ended up signing up. Well, you come in and you fill out an application. You have an intake interview. Your first thought is that they're going to judge you, and you really don't want to be open, but they didn't judge, and that's the first time I ever had that experience. I'm always thinking, what are they getting out of all this? What are they trying to get? And these people just weren't like that. Pretty much they ask you the questions, what you answered on your application, and you have to actually say the words. It's one thing to write them down, but it's another thing to actually admit them to people. But not only that, they asked me how I could help them. And that was very strange for me. I wasn't used to seeing that kind of love, that they knew I had something to contribute. And, I've been told most of my life that I'd never amount to anything. When they said, what can I do for them, that just really, really struck me. It made me think, like, these people don't realize I'm worthless. And that's the first thought I had, was they don't realize it. I always thought, well, they soon will. After being here and, completing the program, I realized, I'm not worthless. God has a plan for me. This whole program is a quiet time to reflect and let God work in your life. That's something I really needed, because after not knowing God, most of my life, coming to find Him and having Him help me with my life, I didn't think it was possible. The hardest part of going through this program was opening myself up, because I was in a lot of denial. I didn't want to admit I had a problem. I thought everybody else had a problem with them thinking I had a problem. I didn't think it was me. I tried to push it off on everybody else. So opening up, opening myself up to God, that was really hard. I didn't know God before this place. I didn't know that kind of love really existed. So that was the hardest part, was being able to trust people to open up.